reviews, discussions, and theories about films in horror, sci-fi, and genre. This is the Horror Deconstruction. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more.
What's up, everybody? It's the Horror Deconstruction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, but most likely on YouTube. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. Hit that thumbs up. Let people know that you listen to the show for 31 days of Halloween, or October, actually, with Yo's Comp. Today's film is Death Note 2017. A high school student named Light Turner discovers a mysterious notebook that has the power to kill anyone whose name is written within its pages, and launches a secret crusade to rid the world of its criminals. Directed by Adam Wingard, written by Charlie Parlapanides, Vas Parlapanides, Jeremy Slater, starring Nat Wolff, Lakeith Stanfield, and Margaret Qualley. So, this was the much reviled Netflix filmatic adaptation of the much beloved manga and anime by Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. There's some spoilers for the manga. A manga that I say you should read. I only read the manga up to a certain point, but there's spoilers here for gigantic spoilers here from the manga that are different from the film itself. I don't know where to go. I didn't hate this movie as much as everybody else did. I thought it was an interesting sort of segue, but it certainly is not. It is not true to the heart of the actual manga itself, which is very super disappointing. I'm not giving this movie a pass because of just how it's done. It's just that it's not very good. It's not a good movie. It's certainly not a good adaptation of the comic book. I didn't hate it because I don't hate everything that much. I do hate a lot of things, believe me. Certain movies are horrible. But I gave a little segue or a little leeway for Ghost in the Shell live action. I know people are going crazy because of the whole race mixing thing, which in the movie there actually is race mixing. Not mixing, but race changing in the film. They turn one character, like... People are like, oh, Major Kusanagi should be an Asian character, which makes sense because the fucking character's named Major Kusanagi if she's from Japan. But in the movie, they try to put it some way, and then there was like actual race changing, which was pretty funny, which made it doubly worse, which was pretty funny. I thought that movie was fine. In no way did it capture, in some ways it captured the spirit of the Gits manga and anime. If you ever seen, don't even bother with the live action if you haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, the two films. If you haven't seen Standalone Complex, which is an incredible series, even up to its 3D CG series on Netflix, just watch everything Ghost in the Shell. They're all great. Even the live action is fine. It's fine. It's not incredible. It's much better than this one. But that whole series is like team series, and the movie was just like focusing on. I don't mind focusing on Scarlett Johansson. What am I doing? I'm talking about something else. So I didn't have a problem with that. So I'm a little forgiving. Even Battle Angel Alita, I liked. But people I understand people are very, very adamant in the respect of a manga and why it is liked in the first place. There have been, I don't know how many manga adaptations have been turned Americanized. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but they haven't been done very well, even by Japanese studios. Like when they'll do a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the anime, it to me is the greatest anime I've ever seen, story-wise, and just how it's wraps up at the end. The only thing I don't understand is Winry and Winry having a photo of her parents' killer in the fucking house. That part I don't understand at the end of the series. But anyway, this Death Note though really lives up to an Americanized adaptation of Japanese material, because boy do they fuck up a lot of stuff in this. There's only one thing that they did not fuck up, and it's incredible. It's like finding a piece of gold in the biggest horse shit you've ever seen in your life. And I don't even know how if this had been their first idea, and then everything else could have been better from that. But casting the fantastic Willem Dafoe as Ryuk was the only good thing about this movie. Like the only pure thing about this film. He's perfect. He's fantastic in this movie. When I first saw it, I was like, oh shit. He looks great. He looks cool. He fits the character. His voice acting is great. The motherfucking Willem Dafoe could sleepwalk and make anything good. He even made he makes anything look good. He's a fucking class act. They're supposed to remake Death Note as a series now on Netflix. He's the only one I would have back. He's the only one. None of the fucking directors, none of the cast. Not that the cast is horrible in this movie. I think Nat Wolff, in the comic, Light Turner is this character who he looked like who's this actor? But anyway, Light Turner was like a very handsome, like pretty boy, uh, well-to-do student who was bored with life. And in the whole point of the manga is this kid who ends up getting a god complex because he gets the powers of God. He gets this Death Note book that falls from, I guess, this world where they have these creatures that are death. They're called, I forget I forget what the fucking phrase is, what they're called, but they're these they're like Grim Reapers and stuff like that. He gets this book if you write the name of this person, but you don't write how they die within a couple of hours. They'll die of a heart attack. If you write this person's name on a certain date and the way they die, then they'll die in that way and they'll die in that date. But you have to know the person's full name to get this thing done. You know what I mean? The person whoever uses the book, they're doomed. They're essentially doomed. And I remember reading in the manga towards the end, there was like a special after issue or a special after chapter when the whole manga was done. It shows that Light became one of those creatures at the end. He becomes like mutated. His soul's mutated, and he doesn't remember who he is, and he's like some sort of creature filling out death notes. I told you there's spoilers for the manga. So the manga, when I read it, I only read up to a certain point. Don't listen to this fucking episode if you do not want to get spoiled for the comic. Go read the comic instead of watching this movie, okay? And then you can watch the movie and be like, holy shit, this is a horrible adaptation. So I read it only up to the part where L dies. That's it. After that, I was like, wait, they killed L. I liked L. Why everybody else is fucking, who needs this? So I just kind of didn't read it, and then I just kind of kept up notes into what happened. There's an anime adaptation that was done really well. It's like they do, you know how like Goku spirits up, like he gets his power levels and shit. They do that, but for writing in a book, and it actually makes it look really good. So they made it really interesting. So one of the biggest problems with this film that people had from the outset is unfortunate. It's a physical thing. It's very stupid, but Light Yagami in the manga itself, like I said before, he's a pretty boy. He looked very much like the guy from High School Musical. If you know who that actor is. I don't know why I am not like remembering his name, because he's been in the news so much because his face shape has changed, and it's interesting that people were like pissed off because Nat Wolff does not look like Hollywood handsome like Zac Efron. Like Nat Wolff looks like a regular dude, and I think he's related to the guy from Hereditary. So they're both good actors. They both look very similar. But Zac Efron, it's funny how Zac Efron now, like he looks just like Light Yagami. And I think there was a long time trying to make the original film adaptation, but he aged out of it. And now time has changed so much that Zac Efron like has turned from Light Yagami, or Light Yagami in the original one. Light Yagami is the name of the character in the original one, to looking like he looks like Ryuk now because his face has changed completely. Anyway, and the other big huge thing that people had problem with, this is one of the early, well, there's always been fucking racists anyway, having a problem was Lakeith Stanfield playing L. In the original manga, L is this genius detective teenager who is like Hikikomori, I guess, like a person who stays home mostly. He has these big saucer eyes. This is a fantastic character design, just for like a regular character. He's a great character design, and he's Japanese in the original one. I believe he's Japanese. I might be wrong. I'm not sure, but you never know his name. That's why his name is never really written in the book until it is actually done later on. And he's played by Lakeith Stanfield, an African American actor who's very fucking good actor, and very like he does like a lot of weirdo roles, but he's really cool. And I think he got the general essence of the character, but it wasn't 100%. There is a live action Japan of Death Note. I think there's 3 or 4 movies based on it. I haven't seen that. I have no real interest in watching it. I was like, once I saw L die, it's just sort of, I just was not interested. And although people still say the book is good, but after L, there's two other detectives that take over for L. I know one of them is called Nier. I don't know the name of the other one, but it's all like whatever. I just wasn't interested. And there's obviously Wataru, who looked for L. He's the only other one that's sort of true to the comic book, like an Asian actor playing that character. So, and the interesting is that they do not kill L in this movie, because I guess they're trying to set up for a sequel or something. They do kill Wataru, who is W. I believe that's the name of the character, and I don't get it. And like Margaret Qualley, she's a good actor. She's a little wacky, just like Lakeith Stanfield, but she's playing like an uber like bad girl. Her character is the one in the manga. Her character's name is Misa, I believe, and she's playing Mia in this one. So she's a little bit more conniving this one as a is in the manga. She's more of like a blind follower of this guy, Light, because Light puts a name like he's God or something. Puts his, I forget what the phrase that he uses for his God complex character, even though it's like throughout the whole fucking book. Do not remember it. So they change up her character. They try to do switcheroo. They try to do some, and then the movies like the kills are like Final Destination. Like he's killing bullies, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm sure he did get to eventually, judging anybody up to the point that I saw. He wasn't judging that badly of people. He was like judging criminals, but it was the net was closing on him because he was trying to, kill only really evil people, really bad people. But then like he once he's trying to save himself, he starts killing innocent people that are looking for him, which I understand is the purpose of self realization and self. He wants to keep himself alive, and that's where the corruption comes in, and that's the whole folly of the joke of Death Note of having the power of a god. It eventually all goes badly when you're given that power over other people. So with the film itself, it's giving these Final Destination kills. A Final Destination kill should be in Final Destination, not in this fucking shit, because the wacky way that the first couple people die because of Death Note is so over the top. It's just like, why did you do this? Why did you Americanize it to this level? Because I think the Death Note manga is fairly intelligent. It's fairly brilliant in how Light can figure things out, from like putting items inside of a potato chip bag so he doesn't get caught on camera writing names and death notes to kill people. The whole investigation, like him being, ahead of everybody else, and it's just so stupid. And then we got like Light's dad, who's also like a cop, like in the manga, and in the movie he's played by a very good actor named Shea Wiggum. You've seen him in everything. And he's good, and he does his job well. And it's just like I don't know. It's the more and more you talk about it, and you just think about it, you just say, well, what the fuck was he thinking? Like, what was the point of this shit? So this is by Adam Wingard, who did the You're Next, which is a great movie. People love The Guest. I can give a rat's ass about Godzilla versus Kong. People like that enough that they got a sequel, but from a different director. He did work in VHS. He was very much into the horror scene, and he's trying to grow out of it. Oh, he did the Blair Witch, and he got into a lot of shit for it when he released it. And he was like just arguing with people why it didn't become number one. Why is he attached to Death Note 2017, right? I thought he was attached to the remake. Never mind. He's doing Godzilla vs. Kong Part 2. So I was wrong. He was part of that. I was thinking about some other movie, King Kong movie. So it's a horrible American adaptation. I'm sure this is not the first time you fucking heard that this is a bad adaptation. I come in knowing a little bit more about the source material, so I'm not going to go crazy about it. It's a very poor adaptation. Great Ryuk, who's played by Willem Dafoe, who plays this apple-eating a demon that's just laughing at everything. He just finds the joke. Like, there's a big joke that like Light is not in on. And I actually love the ending credit when he's like he uses his famous line from the book, like, humans are so interesting, and then it leads to the best part of the movie, which is the song "The Power of Love," which originally I thought was a song solely by Celine Dion, because I used to actually listen to that song a lot in the '90s, and it's actually by a different group completely. So it's like movies where they use '80s music for no reason. I guess because the director is must have been an '80s baby, and it seems to have no reasoning to be in the film itself. It's almost like when Mia dies, they put on like a stinger from an '80s song, and they try to make it seem all like important or beautiful, but it just seems out of place. It looks great, the shot when she's falling to her death, but Misa doesn't die in the manga like that, so completely changing the fates of these characters to maybe set up a sequel makes no fucking sense. It's just like it's not that difficult. I don't know what the Netflix budget for this film was. Maybe it was like $30 million or something like that. but it just seems so unnecessary. The band's called Air Supply. The Power of Love I spoke about when We Summon the Darkness uses Tapao, and those being the best parts of the film. And even the ending credits are better than the movie itself. So there's nothing more I can add to this. Lakeith Stanfield as L is just like whatever. He has a funny run. And he does a lot more than L does, because L doesn't even like barely leaves his house, and the L in this one is running around chasing him like a cop, and that's just not what Death Note is. Death Note is supposed to be a little bit more cerebral, a little bit more, but I guess that's not exciting enough for American viewers or something. So just stop fucking around. Like, listen, manga and anime is like, it makes money, okay? They make money. Fucking a Dragon Ball movie was #1 movie. Of course, it wasn't like going against anything else at the time, but it was like a #1 movie in the U.S. box office. Are you fucking kidding me? So, and they fucked up that adaptation. Now that I'm thinking about it, the fucking Dragon Ball. Holy mackerel! That's even worse than this one. We actually reviewed it a long time ago. You can listen to our episode called "Hell is a Bad Movie." But anyway, there's nothing more I can say that you haven't heard before. Go read the manga. Go watch the anime if you want. Go even watch I don't know if the Japanese live actions are any better, because they changed shit too. Maybe I think L's alive in that one also. So with this one, if this is the last resort, if you're a Death Note completist, then maybe watch this so you can be like, oh, geez. Just watch it for Willem Dafoe's performance. That's about it. So with that, I would give this a 4.5 out of 10. Giant apple-eating Ghost Reaper. I think Ghost Reaper. Yeah, I guess he's a Ghost Reaper. He's not a pepper. I think, are they called Shinagamis? I don't know. I don't know if that's a Naruto reference. Creature that will eat your apples and mock you as you try to have your God complex realized. And with that, this has been the Hard Deconstruction. Thank you for listening.